Good morning, this is Deborah Matthews, Vicar of Verwood. Well, on Thursday last week, we celebrated the Feast of the Ascension. This was 40 days after the resurrection. The Ascension is one of the 4 major festivals of the Christian Church, but it's probably the least well known. It's not easy for us to imagine what that might look like, even though lots of artists have painted Jesus disappearing into the clouds. Well, whilst I was considering this, I realised that there is a sense of that beloved person who has died gradually being lifted up from us. So despite the strangeness of this recorded account of Jesus' ascension into heaven, I suggest that there is something that we can connect to within our own experiences of saying goodbye to the people we love. We've been thinking a lot about this in the last few weeks, from Jesus preparing his disciples for his departure to them coming to the realization that they are ready to let him go. We've lived until recently in a culture that does its best to deny the reality of death. But now, hearing the daily numbers of those who have died from the COVID virus means that death has got closer to each one of us. And so perhaps we should be more aware of its reality in the way we live each day, even in these uncertain times and partial shutdown conditions. That much quoted adage from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius comes to mind. He wrote, "Perfection of character is this, to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense." Well, if we take this to mean that we slow down, show more love, listen with more attention, and care more about other people, then we can take it as good advice, for death comes to us all, and none of us knows when that will be. Well, Marcus Aurelius was writing in the 2nd century AD, around the same time as some of the New Testament writers. And during those times, death was very much part of the culture. And when life stories were told, the way that a person faced death was an important part of their story. We know the value today of being able to tell the story of the person we have loved. We want to share all those memories and the details of a life well lived. But because funerals are currently small occasions, when things have settled down, we will at St. Michael's offer to hold memorial services for those who have died during these restrictions, so that families can celebrate, can sing and share, and laugh and cry with all their friends and relatives. The Bible tells us that Jesus remained with the disciples for 40 days after the resurrection. As time went by, the disciples were ready to let him go, to ascend to the Father, and they went back to Jerusalem with great joy. Well, it's not easy to let go, and usually we take a lot longer than 40 days, and it's important that we take all the time that we need. But we are not left alone to cope with our sadness. Jesus promised his disciples that they would be clothed with power from on high. And we recall this occasion 50 days after Easter at Pentecost. At Pentecost, the disciples received the power of the Holy Spirit to accompany them on their journeys, and it is through the Holy Spirit that we are equipped today to share God's story in our own lives. We are never sure how we will cope with things, but filled with the Holy Spirit, we, like the disciples, can approach the future with hope, and at the right time also with great joy. God bless you, and may you find some joy in your life today. Amen.